The Legend of Zelda is a stabbing and terrorism simulator released in 1986 for the NES. Holy shit, we're turning back the clock even further. First MGS, now this. We've gone from Otacon to Shotacon. Who'd have thought that? What's next, Galaga? Thank you. Yes, thank you. Thanks a lot. Anyway, yeah, the original Legend of Zelda. If the horse wasn't pulverized enough with Metal Gear Solid, now we'll be treading on ground so well-traveled we'll make our way to China and be drinking horse smoothies once we reach the other side. You've heard it all before. Ganon stole your missus and you're going to rescue her. That's all the story you get, that's all the story you're gonna get. Go get him, Slugger. Alright, that's not the whole story. There's some flavor text in the manual, but that's the gist of it. While I'm on the topic of the manual, however, you know how in Link's Awakening there are Goombas and piranha plants and stuff? Well, funnily enough, a literal translation of the Japanese manual reveals that Manhandla is actually a four-limbed, jumbo-sized piranha plant, and Digdogger is actually one of those sea urchin thingies in Clu Clu Land. Just a little trivia for you. So here you are, a little elf boy plopped into this weird old high fantasy land filled with dangerous monsters with nothing but a flimsy shield to protect yourself that doesn't even work against some projectiles. This ain't no RPG, this ain't no platformer, this is all about exploring the world and stabbing shit. Fuck yeah! Manifest destiny! Anyway, I'm not all about the jokes. This ain't your typical show about the yucks and fucks. It's time to get technical. Don't worry, this won't take too long. It's pretty simple. So the screen is very clearly grid-based, highlighted best in the dungeons. Enemies can walk across this grid of a dungeon in this 7x12 pattern. Some enemies, like the Tektites and the Bats, move a bit differently, but in general, all the normal, walking enemies travel along the squares of the grid like this. Link has more mobility than the enemies. His grid looks more like this. You can see that he travels along the tiles, but also along the lines. It makes it feel like you have more freedom of movement than the enemies, because you do. It almost feels unrestrained, but look closely. You can travel along the grid pixel by pixel if you tap the direction quick enough. Placing yourself between the center of a block and the line, and then turning, reveals that Link will snap to the part of the grid he was closest to. This is why when you're just moving about, compared to the enemies, you seem to have added mobility, which should give you the edge in battle, but trying to position yourself with precision can feel pretty clunky because of the snapping mechanic. See, that wasn't so bad now, was it? The Legend of Zelda combat all boils down to mastering this grid snapping system and predicting enemy movements. The more you play, the better you get. Simple as that. In the NES days, simplicity was key. Mario's just a game about running and jumping. Megadude and Contra are just about running and gunning. Once you've learned the controls and you're in the zone, you'll be tearing through dark nuts and sniping keys like it's just another Tuesday afternoon. Zelda is actually not very simple at all. You can use a sword, boomerang, bombs, magic wand, and that's just for combat. Your map is a big gray blob that never fills in, so you gotta memorize where everything is relative to the position on the big gray blob. Most everything helpful is behind a wall you need a bomb. Which walls? Fuck you. You need special items to reach special areas, you need a certain number of hearts to get certain items, you gotta push certain blocks to reveal a hidden passage. Which items? How many hearts? What block? Fuck you, and fuck you. But you already knew this, didn't you? Why? Someone told you. That's what Zelda's about. You talk to other people, you share your knowledge, and you draw crude maps and memorize secret area positions. That's the whole saving grace of Zelda. It promotes fellowship and teamwork. Guess what? Some poor kid had to burn every goddamn bush in Hyrule to make sure there weren't any more hidden passages. Someone pushed every block in every direction, someone grinded for 1,000,000 bombs and blew the shit out of every section of wall in the game. If you ever planned on playing Zelda without the help of a guide, you may be driven to do the exact same thing. Most of the secrets aren't that great anyway. Find 10 rupees, find a hidden shop, lose 20 rupees, find another hidden shop, find a casino, and find another hidden shop. You start to feel ambivalent for exploring. You want that heart piece or that sword, but if you get charged one more time for door repairs, you're liable to enact manifest destiny on the geezer's ass. Okay, everyone knows Zelda 1 is extremely flawed for its obscure secrets and crude controls. Everyone also knows that because of its non-linearity, you can complete most dungeons out of order to get helpful items early on. It's tightly designed with massive oversights when it comes to giving the player a sense of direction. That horse is looking mighty tender right about now. Here's the kicker. Gameplay! Grab a guide, print out a map, I don't give a shit. You've got a whole fucking game ahead of you, and it's great! You know where all the secrets are in the layout of the world, but it's still up to you if and when you want to go out and grab some heart containers or get the dungeon map or whatever. Go through whichever dungeons you please, but you gotta go through them all eventually. The point is, you don't just have to go through the motions going from point A to point B. There's some fucking shit out there that wants to kill you, and you've got options. Want 6 hearts, power bracelet, white sword, and the blue ring all before you enter Dungeon 1? Go for it! It's meant to reward players who have played the game and know the secrets, but you googled it, and that's close enough. Maybe that was a little overdramatic. The game is non-linear, and some people come over that. My point is it's a very play-your-way kind of game, so you can make the most of the game itself, even if it's all laid out in front of you. If there's one thing I could recommend you play without a guide for, it would be the dungeons. Except for Ganon's dungeon. Fuck that place. The dungeons are small snippets of gameplay with hidden items and rooms that aren't too hard to find if you know they exist. And they all get progressively harder, so they give you this nice curve of difficulty. It's just you, in a room, and you gotta kill whatever's in there to advance. Bites of simple gameplay interlaced in incrementally larger labyrinths to fit within the theme of exploration. If you die, no sweat, there aren't any lives. But we're putting you at the beginning of the dungeon with only 3 hearts. Go boldly forward, or recuperate and refresh your supplies. Or just go to another dungeon, I don't fucking care. All of that doesn't matter if the controls don't work, and they don't. Enemies move just a bit too quickly, and I mentioned before that lining up shots is a bitch and a half. You can also have tons of enemies that take multiple hits, and you need to be in the zone to take them out before the next room hands you a big juicy helping of your ass. Some rooms throw so many projectiles at you that I think they may have been the progenitors to the bullet hell genre, like Go Marissa here. No problem though, you've got potions and bombs and shit to help you take them out. Not so fast there, Speedy McGee. That shit costs rupees. Once you've drained all the hidden areas of rupees, you're stuck to travel around a big ol' circle killing the same enemies until you get enough to buy all that shit you need. And God help you if a like eats your shield in the middle of a dungeon. Alternatively, you could get good, but who's got the time for that? Get past the tank controls, get past all the secrets, get past all the grinding, and what you're left with is a challenging and questionably enticing game, which by design is filled with equal parts uncertainty and ingenuity. You won't find anything out that nobody else already has, but going through this world and seeing all there is to see still somehow feels exciting because you're seeing it with your own eyes, and you got there by the seat of your own pants, even though those pants were stitched with specific instructions. Again, I didn't go very in-depth with this one because my smoothie evaporated and has become an ever-looming cloud, silently judging me from on high, casting a wry eye as it softly undulates and pushes a cool breeze harboring a quiet whisper. Just wait until Ocarina. Ugh. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it, though. The Legend of Zelda is a very love-hate kind of game. Maybe it's because I'm an adult and I haven't got a lot of free time and I like to go from point to point rather than traipsing around setting fire to foliage. Maybe my sense of expedience trumps my desire to find things out on my own. Perhaps I've just been spoiled by playing too many games set on a rail from beginning to end. Whatever the reason, The Legend of Zelda is a complete piece of shit. But it's one of the greatest pieces of shit I've ever played from 1986.
تصدى الطيران الحربي الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله